Friends, hey, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Since the holidays are upon us. Yeah, it's that time of year. November, December, you know what time it is. And sometimes you may need a little help getting through the holidays, especially if you don't want to go to these like family gatherings. I mean, sometimes family gatherings are cool, don't get me wrong, but other times it's like, bro, I just want to stay home today. So today we're going to be talking about 10 boozy fragrances that can help you get through the holidays and have you smell great while doing so. It's a win-win. Now, of course, these are boozy fragrances. They are not booze. Do not drink these fragrances. I mean, nobody's going to do that, right? Although, like years ago, when it was all the rage to do the thumbnails where you were like pretending to spray fragrances in your mouth, I did do that once. Like I actually sprayed it in my mouth. It doesn't taste good. None of that is important. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about some boozy fragrances. And if you find yourselves shopping this holiday season at twistedlily.com or maxaroma.com, use the code GENTS10. That will save you 10% off your order. Or if you find yourself at luckyscent.com, use the code 10GENTS. It will do the same thing, 10% off your order. Now, there are many different boozy notes to use in boozy fragrances. There are notes like gin and vodka, but those typically get used more in fragrances that I would think of as like spring, summertime scents, at least leaning more toward that a lot of times. So instead, in this video, we're going to be concentrating more on those notes like whiskey, rum, and cognac, because typically if those are used in a fragrance, that's going to be more of like a fall, wintertime scent, and that's what we're looking for. All right, we're kicking it off with a big one. Stronger with you, absolutely. Got to mention this. Chestnut, vanilla, lavender, and cedar are some of the notes in the fragrance, and the booze of choice here is rum. So this guy really doesn't need much introduction. You people out there, I know you love it, because every time that I kick something to you with like a tournament or asking you to give me fragrances for a list, this one finds its way in there. And I'm not gonna argue with that at all. Stronger with you absolutely smells friggin' awesome. This stuff is great. Huge compliment puller, great performance. Everything that you want in a fragrance to get you through the holidays is here. And Stronger with you absolutely also very modern smelling, like that type of scent, really popular right now. After that one, Bulgari's Man in Black. Spices, tobacco, leather, and tonka, and rum once again. Actually, most of these first ones we're gonna talk about have rum. We'll just get all the rum ones out of the way. Now, people know this one for smelling similar to Viktor and Rolf Spice Bomb, and it does. It has that spiciness, it has that sweetness, that richness, but the booze really helps set this one apart from Spice Bomb. And when this very first came out, some people were wondering like, hey, is this just kind of an imitator of Spice Bomb? Like, should we take this seriously? And as more people got their nose on it, it became its own thing. Just a wonderful fall fragrance. This stuff is to die for. Man in Black, gotta include that. Don't actually die for that. And then we're gonna class up the joint a little bit with this one, Dior Fahrenheit Le Parfum. Suede, violet, vanilla, rum, some of the notes in the fragrance. This one is the Fahrenheit to get for people who say that they can't wear Fahrenheit because they're afraid of the petrol, they're afraid of the gasoline note of the original Fahrenheit Eau de Toilette. But Fahrenheit Le Parfum, you know, that one's gonna sneak in here and be like, check me out though. You know, I'm smooth, elegant, very classy. The quality is there. That sweetness from the vanilla mixing with the rum just makes it a great compliment puller, even if you're maybe like not keen on the name, which again, I think you should be, but maybe you aren't. You should still check this one out because Fahrenheit Le Parfum is a completely separate beast from the original Fahrenheit. After that one, let's talk about Ferragamo Oud from Salvatore Ferragamo. It's in that twisted style bottle. I actually think that the bottle style is cool. It's like they basically grabbed it and just went and kind of gave it this interesting look. One thing I don't like about this a lot is the gradient. For whatever reason, like this gradient to me, like the bottom, it just looks like a sickly kind of brown. I want it to have a little more color to it. It's nice black and then just like toilet water or something. That doesn't matter. The fragrance matters. And Ferragamo Oud smells awesome. It doesn't have quite as much oud as you would expect. It does have leather, iris, gaiac wood, tobacco, and rum, but it's not really like a woody, dark fragrance. It's actually more leathery than it is woody. And the rum does what rum does best. adds that nice sweetness to the whole deal. It's a very masculine fragrance. It's probably going to appeal more to guys middle-aged and older because it doesn't have quite the amount of sweetness that a lot of younger guys are going to be looking for. There's a little bit, but it's not like full bore. Now let's move to a very different booze with the next one, Burberry London. And the boozy note in here is port wine. Yeah, port wine. You don't really see that anywhere, really. Which really, this is the only fragrance that comes to mind when I think about a port wine note. I'm sure there are other fragrances out there that have that, but they're just not as well known. Cinnamon, lavender, leather, and tobacco. Some of the other notes in here mixing together with that port wine. And Burberry London is a scent that a whole bunch of people out there will tell you is the official, unofficial scent of the holidays. So you kind of have to include it in a video like this anyway, don't you? It does have this spiciness to it, this warmth that does kind of bring to mind, you know, gatherings around the fire where you're pigging out on a lot of food, essentially. Really cozy fragrance, smells great, and fairly affordable from discounters too. Now, the only niche one for this list, to be fair, there are a lot of niche ones that I could have picked, but I wanted to keep mainly designer here for this list. Roja Parfum Creation E, this is the Parfum Cologne. This fragrance also known as Enigma, depending on where you live. Tobacco, benzoin, bergamot, and the booze of choice here is cognac. Yes, when rum is just too basic and whiskey is too poor, you go cognac. I don't know that that's actually how they decided to use a cognac note officially in this. I would imagine that's not how, but it kind of is on point with the brand, isn't it? So this is one of the most hyped, most well-known fragrances from the house, and for good reason. When you spray this on, it has like a very sparkling, sweet, effervescent lightness to it, but it doesn't come across weak. It's like airy and sweet and warm, but still has a good punch to it. People will compare the opening of that fragrance to smelling like carbonated sweet beverages. Your beverage of choice, like Dr. Pepper or root beer, depending on who you ask. Parfum Cologne is gonna be the most affordable version of that fragrance. But if you wanna go even higher end and even more elegant and opulent, you can pay for the more expensive versions. Get yourself the Parfum. After that, let's talk about one from Azzaro. It is Azzaro Pour Homme Intense. Cinnamon, amber, tonka, vetiver, and brandy are the notes in this fragrance, or some of the notes in this fragrance, I should say. So this one for a long while was one of my favorite cheapies out there. You could pick this up for a very good price from discounters, and then there was a long stretch where you couldn't really find it at all. Thankfully, you can find it again in the US, so that's nice, but I think it's not quite as cheap as it used to be, unfortunately. It does have kind of a throwback to the original Azzaro Pour Homme, which is a great classically masculine fragrance in a barbershoppy style. This one isn't full on barbershop, but it's got, you know, it's got that essence to it. It is warmer, obviously, sweeter, spicier than the original Azzaro Pour Homme. It is, in my opinion, going to appeal once again to guys middle-aged and older, a bit more than younger guys, unless you're a younger guy that just really has an appreciation for more mature, sophisticated smelling fragrances. But not to worry, if you are younger, you could go for something like this, Prive from Carolina Herrera. This one has leather, tonka, cardamom, lavender, and whiskey as some of the notes in the fragrance, and they really do not hide the boozy aspect of this at all. I mean, look at it. Would you look at it? Just look at it. You know what they're doing here. It looks like a flask. So yeah, if you're talking obvious boozy men's fragrances, can't get more obvious than this. And Prive is one of the like almost forgotten hype beasts at this point. I mean, it's not forgotten, obviously. People still know about it. And I'll talk about this from time to time on the channel. When this hit, it was everywhere. Not as big, but you know how Sauvage Elixir, everybody's like, Sauvage Elixir, Sauvage Elixir, Sauvage Elixir, you gotta get it. When this hit, that's kind of how this was for a little bit. It's like, oh, you gotta get Prive. It is the biggest compliment puller. It's crazy. And as happens, time marches on and people forget how good it is. And it still is so good. That one leans into the booze a little bit more than most everything here, but I think it's fantastic. Like if I was looking for a fragrance to wear just solely to get compliments, that would be one of the first ones that I go for out of everything here. Maybe not the absolute first one. That might be like Stronger With You absolutely maybe, but it'd be close. Now this one, Gentleman Reserve Prive. Technically Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Prive. Ooh, yeah, this is the stuff. That iris just every time. It's got woods, chestnut, amber, and whiskey as some of the other notes in the fragrance melding together with that iris. Really nice twist on the Gentleman DNA, keeping that iris front and center. Still the star of the show, but the booziness here gives it a different element, obviously. Gives it that additional warmth, sweetness, sex appeal. Makes it a little bit more playful, a little bit less of a, formal night out situation only kind of fragrance than the original Gentleman Eau de Parfum. Great flanker. And we will end with another whiskey fragrance. And this one is from a line that I have not always showered with effusive praise. It's a line that from time to time we have had disagreements. I mean, there are some fragrances from the line that I like a lot, but we'll just say it's not my favorite that has ever existed. It is from the Invictus line, and it is Invictus Intense. It has amber, orange blossom, and pepper along with whiskey. It does have that bubble gumminess, that sweetness that you expect from the Invictus line. It has that for sure, but it is ever so slightly darker, ever so slightly more mature. The whiskey gives it a nice element to kind of break up the bubble gum a little bit. I mean, it's adding additional sweetness, just a different style. And I would say that for me personally, I would wear Invictus Intense over the original Invictus like 10 times out of 10. So Invictus Intense, even if I have not always loved the line with every release, again, some of them are fine and some of them I actually like a lot, but others, that's a great boozy fragrance. It's a little change of pace. It's different than all the other boozy fragrances here. And even though it's a little bit more mature than the original Invictus, it still has that youthful edge. So for younger people looking for a great scent that's going to cut through the cold, that's going to get them attention, that'll do it. And if you're a guy middle-aged and older who wants a fragrance with a little youthful edge, again, it'll work for you. So that will do it for me. 10 of the best boozy fragrances to get you through the holidays. And out the other side into 2023, which, it's like 2023 is going to be awesome. Yeah. And then a month into 2023, you're like, nothing changed. All right. I'm out of here. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.